Daddy, oh no, I'm sleeping home in life. Oh.
Just a quick thing. The winner of my giveaway is Kamoya Allen. So I'm gonna put my number down in below, Kamoya. Please WhatsApp me and we can move forward from there. Okay, thank you. Hey guys, and welcome back to Royalty Purpose TV. And you done know it's your girl Royalty. And we're back at it today. And I know it's been a while. Did you miss me? Because I have missed y'all, guys. I have missed y'all. So, last one I told y'all that a lot of us I got sick, but we all have been tested and we're all tested negative. So, kudos. Also, a little sad news. My uncle passed away, and recently my grandmother passed away. So I was a little bit grieving, so that's why I haven't been back on. But enough of that, enough of the excuses. We're back at it, right? So her funeral is gonna be the ending of this month, and just wanna, talk about her a little bit. Sometimes we take so long to learn each other or learn about our history that, we tend to stray. But my grandmother came here at the age of 62. She left her son, my uncle William, sent for her, and she came up here at the age of 62. Now, when she came here, she was basically a senior citizen. My grandmother could have stayed home and just relaxed herself, but no, she worked hard and she sent for her kids. The first kids that she sent for was my mom, my aunt, and my uncle, and me came up. Yes, it was 4 of us that came up. So it's my uncle Carter, my aunt Daisy, my mom, and me. When we came up here, my grandmother was working as a home attendant. She basically helped, like basically a CNA, helping people, older people, working from home and stuff like that. When my mom and aunt came up, they also became that. They eventually went to school. My mom wanted to be a lawyer. She actually started school, but circumstances had stopped her from becoming a lawyer. But she did strive to be a lawyer. My aunt also, she became a home attendant, and that's what they did, And as years passed, my mom helped my grandmother send for other siblings, which is about 4 or 5 more siblings, and my aunt and her 2 of her kids came up, and then she sent for the other 2. Yeah. So basically, yeah. So my grandmother came here at the age of 62. She worked hard. She sent for all her kids, and she retired when she was in her 80s. She used to do babysitting and stuff like that. So my grandmother really was it's a little bit hard to talk about her. So because I have a little bit of sweet and sour sometimes when it comes to my grandma, because I was the first one here. I was basically around my grandmother more than most of my siblings when we first came up. After, most of them was around her more than me. But when I was around my grandmother, I remember I was walking home with my grandmother one time, and this young man, I guess this was at the time when Bloods and Crips was coming into New York City. I was probably around 10. Had to be maybe 10, 11, around that. And we were walking home from where we were walking home from her job. And this young man that I went to school with, I never seen him after. He came, ran up, and he sliced me in my face. It's like from over here. It comes from right here all the way down. He sliced me, and I was walking with my grandmother. My grandmother tried to run after him, but as I told you, she couldn't catch her. She was like 64. And she came back and I was bleeding, and she brought me into the grocery store, and she was literally so upset. She was like, she was crying, like she was crying, and I ended up crying. And then we went home, and my mother was so mad. She called the police. They saying that they couldn't do anything about it. And being that it happened over there, she'd have to report it to the crime over there. My grandmother she threw a fit. What a blood to the money, At that time, my grandmother she was quiet, but don't mess with her. Like, don't mess with her. Don't disturb her peace, And she was mad. That's when I knew my grandmother loved me. Because all the times, like, I used to wonder, do this lady even like me? Because, do any little thing, I've no manners. Oh, it's too feisty. So, being a child was it was just a lot. And I was just the only one around her. And I always wanted to do stuff. So I wanted to cook for myself. She would come home and I'm cooking a big pot of soup. Or, I'm telling you, I'm like 9, 10. Because I was, most of the time when I was by myself and I'm hungry, if I fell for something, I'm going to cook it. So if I had an idea of what to do or I know the taste, then I'll go off of the taste. Like, this is how I cook now. Like, I remember all my childhood stuff, what my mom used to cook and stuff like that. And I remember the taste, or we want to buy something from a restaurant and it tasted so good. I remember these tastes or the smell of it. So even now when I'm cooking, this is a smell that I will go for. So, my grandmother never used to like that because she used to be like, I'm too young to be around the stove and without firing and I can't burn on the people them house, and if me burn on the people them house, then I'm gonna take me away, then I'm gonna lock up my mother. So it was like a struggle. It was like fighting, because she wanted me to be independent, but she was also scared of me like doing something that's gonna disturb my future. And yes, my grandmother and my mother lived together for like many years. She would always have our room. We would have our separate places and stuff like that. Yeah, so I grew up mostly with my grandmother. And one day, I'm gonna tell you a story. One day, my mom, I told you before, my mom used to work a lot, like 6 days out of the week. So we were home by ourselves, me and my brother, and my brothers had friends. I had friends, so we all at the house. Our house used to be the spot, but don't tell nobody. So we used to be in the house, and one day my grandmother must have come check by because we're up the block by ourselves, and my mother must have said go check on her, or somebody snitched and say, oh, them up there. So they came. She and my auntie. I ain't gonna talk about my auntie because me and she never see eye to eye. So my grandmother and my auntie, they came to the house, and everybody hiding because nobody supposed to be in the house with us. It's just supposed to be us. Everybody hide. And my brother like, Matilda. My brother used to blame me for friends, but it was his friends that became my friends. We all was like one big friend pot, So we sitting there, and one of my friends named Daga and B, and I think it was Sherman, was to go hide in this closet. Now, this closet was as small as this curtain, if you could see it. It was, you see this little space right here? That's how small the closet was. And all three of them went and hid in there. So my grandmother, but who not doing this? I'm like, nothing, we're doing schoolwork. Schoolwork, and then schoolwork. She's like, schoolwork, school in the... What she said, school in our bed? So I'm like, school in our bed? And everybody bust out laughing. They bust out laughing. The door open, but she see three of them in there. She said, "Who no take uno kuya out of this?" You want to see everybody take off and go hide. My grandma was in there. She was cussing up a storm. She was cussing. She was mad. She was school in our room. So they bust through the door laughing because it was, you couldn't stop it. It was funny. So yeah, I still remember that story because I thought it was like one of her funniest moments, you know? She didn't beat us. She told on us, but she didn't beat us, you know? And my grandmother always made sure that we was okay, you know? And the fact that when she sent for everybody, you know, working so hard to make sure that her family know better. And we was in Jamaica, barrel upon top of barrel are coming up. And we said good things, you know. And you wondering how your grandmother buy stuff for everybody. Not one person was without. And she just said enough food and stuff, but we all got shoes. So most time my mother never used to make us wear shoes. We used to walk barefoot to school and come back because we have our good shoes, we wear it until it grow tight, and then we walk barefoot, go and barefoot come back, yeah. And then when my grandmother came up here, we started living really better, you know. She really elevated our life from a poor farmer's life, because we used to raise, my grandfather and we used to raise animals and stuff like that. And you know, at that time you could make money off of it, but it wasn't enough money to take care of let's see, maybe 8 adults, 10 children, you know what I mean? So it was enough to feed us, but it wasn't enough for all of us to be clothed and stuff like that. And that time my dad used to be they used to go, you know. So when my grandmother came up here, she did elevate our lives, you know. And it's hard to know that in her passing days, like, I didn't get to see her. Like, I've been running from my family for a long time because I felt like I was the black sheep of the family. Maybe I wasn't, but that's how I felt. I felt like I was the one that's always doing wrong or always going beyond the boundaries that was set, or, you know, so I felt like at certain points they didn't like me, so I stayed away from them. But I wish I had visit my grandmother more, because I love my grandmother, you know. And one day when I was so unsure, I was like, "Mom, I don't even think you like me." She said, "What are you talking about? You're my favorite grandchild." I said, "What?" She said, "Yes, you're my favorite grandchild." And she said, no matter your disappointments in life, I know that you try. I know that you give your best. And she's like, "You're the only one that I see that go for it. Like, you drop everything and go for it." And she said, "That's something that I will do. And I see myself in you." Like, it took me away. This is why I'm wearing the red, because she loved red lipstick. You know, it took me away. Like, my grandmother said, and at this time I was thinking she didn't like me, you know? And when she said that to me, it just made me look at things differently. Because sometimes we tend to look at things in our own eyesight, in our own place. Like, you know? So, yeah. I just wanted to tell you a little about Hazel Mullins, which is my grandmother. And I love it to death, like, you know. And I'm sad that I won't be able to really see her farewell, you know, because of this COVID and all this stuff. But I'm happy that she's rested, you know. I'm happy that she is with God. And I just want to tell her that I love her, and just please just stay beside me or watch over me. Don't leave my side, and help guide me, you know. And that's it, guys. So before I get all cry eyes, just thank you guys for supporting me. Remember to be kind to others, be generous, take the first step to your destiny, and God will do the rest. And remember to love yourself and love me too. And if no one else loves you, I love you. Mwah.